just introduce yourself, your name, your age, where you're from, and what branch you were in, and kind of when?
My name is Henry Yudt Jr. I'm 89 years old now. I was born 10/10/32. I went into the Navy in 1952,
Hmm.
got out 1956.
Yes.
Okay.
Yep. And so that was during the Korean War, right?
Yes,
So,
during the Korean War.
yep. So why exactly did you join? What inspired you?
Oh, my mother, she didn't want me go into the Army because she didn't want me to sleep in the ground, like, you know what I mean? And she didn't want me to shoot people.
Yeah.
So about a half a dozen are the guys that I ran around with. We all joined the Navy together.
And
And
so, oh, go ahead.
I ended up down in Norfolk, Virginia, and I was on a ASR 13 Kittiwake,
Mm.
and it was a nice, really nice ship. And we operated with, excuse me, with submarines all the time. And we had a decompression chamber on our ship in case something happened when the guys come out of up through the ocean, you know.
Mhm.
They could get up too fast, they start bleeding, and we put them in this big container and take care of them. Air compressor.
Okay. Um, so during then, was there like some sort of draft that you had to join, or did you enlist like yourself because you wanted to?
I wanted to go in, and I'll never forget it. We went down Pittsburgh to join the Navy down there, and they were swearing us in. They told us to raise up our hand, you know, and everything, you know, and I didn't do that. I hid behind the guys, you know what I mean. Then I told my buddy, I said, I'm not going into the service. And they all laughed like heck. And they said, oh, yeah, you are.
So why did you do that? Did you not? I mean, you said you wanted
Just
to,
that.
or were you just like kidding around, or?
Yeah, just kidding around. Yeah, having a good time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So did you do any like basic training before going to Virginia? And if so, what was that like?
Yeah, I think I had some place up in New York or some place that we had basic training up there. And then after the training was over with, um, they had a big list of all the ships and stuff, you know, and
Mhm.
they put you on it and they send you down to Norfolk. Oh, by the way, I didn't know how to swim
Oh,
when I
no.
went into the service. All right.
Okay.
And while I was in there, I still didn't know how. 4 years later, when I got out, I still didn't know how to swim.
Wow.
Right. Yeah.
So did they like try to help you learn how to
Yeah.
swim, like in
Yeah.
training?
They tried to teach me how to swim. I was in a swimming pool, and this guy had a great big long board, and he kept on pushing against my neck. You know what I mean?
Oh,
And I was getting mad. I was trying to climb up the board to get the guy. Yeah.
yeah. Um,
Yeah.
so do
I
you
had a good time. What's that?
no, go ahead. Continue.
I had a really nice time in this service. I did.
Aw.
Yep.
So
And
do you remember like first getting to Virginia, like your first day there, and what was that like? Or
well, it was something different. You know what I mean? I never thought it'd be like that, but I enjoyed it. You know what I mean? And when I was getting discharged, the captain, he didn't want me to go back home. He wanted me to stay in the service. He
yeah.
says, yeah. But I
Um,
went home.
well,
Yeah.
so on the ship, like, did you have like a specific job that you did? And what did like your job kind of entail?
Uh, my job, I was a seaman,
Mm,
and when I went in, okay, and when I got out, I was still. I never went up the ladder, like, you know
yeah.
what I mean. But I worked on the ship to help paint it. You know what I mean. It was really nice, and I liked it. And one time we operated with a one-man submarine,
Mm,
and it was supposed to try and uh, come to our ship and lay torpedoes, but not a real torpedo. You know what I mean? Different
yeah.
ones. You know, and I seen it at the telescope when it put up in the water, like, and I hurried up and told the captain of the ship, you know, where the submarine was at, and
Mhm.
he really thanked me for it. You know what I mean? Well, it was a nice place to be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, so do you do you remember what like a normal day was like on the ship and what exactly did you do? Like, where did you sleep? And how many guys were on the ship?
Well, the ship that I was on was smaller than a destroyer, and I think there must have been maybe 50 guys or so. Maybe not even that many on the ship. And we went all over. We went to St. Thomas, Virgin Islands. We went to
Wow.
Cuba. Yeah, we had a good time in there. You know what I mean?
And
Yeah.
why did you go there then? Like, why'd you go to the Virgin Islands or Cuba?
It was the captain's idea. You know what I mean? We
Oh,
had to do that. You know, we we followed the submarines and stuff. You know, like,
uh,
yeah, it was nice. Right? Yeah.
did you get a chance to
And,
explore like Cuba or the Virgin Islands?
yes, I did. But the captain told us where we were allowed to go, and there's places that you wasn't allowed to go.
Mm,
That's other than that, you know. Yeah.
um,
I
so
had a lot of different times when I was down Norfolk, and I
mhm.
had the weekends off. I used to hitchhike home.
Oh, you had
Then we hitchhike back, you know. I mean,
so
and
you
one
had like a
time,
lot of time off then, like a lot of weekends off?
it's been so long ago, I can't recall, you
Yeah.
know, how many, maybe once a month or something, we'd have a long weekend or something.
Wow, that's very
And
nice.
we,
I guess just when I think of service, I don't think you guys get to go home. Um, but
uh,
so do you have any
I
fun
can remember,
go ahead.
we, it's just been so long, you know, and I can't
Yeah.
remember all the things that we did. Oh, and I told you one time we were heading back into port when
Mhm.
that big ship was anchored, and they had guys on a smaller ship that went turned upside down. I told you, didn't I?
Oh, yes. Yeah, tell me about that
Yeah,
again. Yeah.
yeah, and all them guys. We had stopped our boat, like, and there was guys on our real close to our ship, and the captain wanted to start up the ship, and you couldn't because you would have hurt the men that were holding
Yeah.
on to our propeller down there.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, we had a good time though.
And I also saw, like, in the newspaper, like you showed me, there was also an instance where you guys saved, like, an individual guy too that was just kinda, like,
Yeah,
swimming out. Do you remember anything about that?
yes, yep. I remember them. They were holding on to our propeller in the water, like, you know, or by the
Okay.
motor. They were holding
Yeah.
on to that. Yep.
Was it
And I told
spinning?
the captain he couldn't start the ship until the guys were
Yeah.
got the guys up on the board. Yep.
Yeah.
Other,
Um,
other than that, we had a good time.
So do you have any like good or fun memories from your time in the Navy? Because I remember you told me
Not that I remember.
the one story about you and your buddies went out to drink and they got caught, or and you like let them out.
Oh yeah, and then I let them loose.
Yeah, so
I opened
could
up
you tell
the
me that could you tell me that story again?
yeah, I think it was down in Washington D.C.
Oh.
We had Liberty, like I had the day off,
Hmm.
and there's three of us.
Hmm.
We were out drinking all day.
Yeah.
At nighttime, we was in this restaurant, and we were making quite a bit of noise. And I had to go to the bathroom.
Hmm.
So I went to the bathroom, and when I come back, my two buddies were in a paddy wagon because they
What
were making so much noise.
what's a paddy wagon?
Yeah, it's like a truck, and
Okay.
it was in cage, like okay, you know what I mean.
Mhm.
And the police had my two buddies in that truck. I snuck around the back.
Mhm.
They were chasing me, and I hurried up and opened up that truck and let my buddies escape. You know what I mean? And I ran down the street, and they never did get me. But when
Wow.
I got onto the ship, the captain was there, and he
Mhm.
told me that the police came and they wanted me. So I had spent a couple of days in some kind of a great big room, like
Oh.
and then they let me go. But I had to be make sure I never did anything again. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah.
Yep, yep.
Um,
So,
do you
and then
go ahead. Yeah.
when I was getting discharged, the captain said to me that you shouldn't go back to where you live because where you were working, all them people were on strike at the Westinghouses.
Oh,
I
yeah.
said, I'm going back home. I said, I was glad. 4 years was enough for me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, so was that like the most challenging part then, like being away from home? Or was there like what did you find really challenging about being in the service?
Well, challenge was hitchhiking back home all the time, and make sure you get a ride and make sure the right people pick you up. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yep. Other than that, oh, one time when I was hitchhiking, I
Hmm.
was on
Turnpike. Oh.
the turnpike,
Hmm.
and you wasn't allowed to hitch on the turnpike. You had to go down to places where you get onto it first. You can hitchhike there.
Okay.
They took me off the turnpike. The police did to the next exit. All right.
Hmm.
As I was going off the exit, I started hitchhiking again, and the guy picked me up, and he only took me about two exits down to get off. And guess who was down there? Them cops.
Really?
So they took me off the turnpike then. Yeah.
Um, do
Oh
you,
well.
yeah. Do you remember a particularly like difficult day when you were in the Navy?
Sometimes they're all difficult
Yeah.
because I was
Yeah.
afraid I was going to fall off the ship. You know what I mean? Into the water, and I'd have drowned it.
Or did you
But
get ever close to that?
I never got used to that.
No.
Yeah.
Um,
Oh well.
so would you do it all over again if you could?
Yeah, but I might have not. I'd probably go into the Army
Really?
or not Navy. You know what I mean? I'd try another
Try something different.
position, or Marines, or the Marines, or something like that. You know what I mean? Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Um,
And quite a few of those fellows that went into the service with me,
mhm,
they're passed away already. You know what I mean?
yeah.
It's something that you just don't know when your time is. You know?
Right.
Yeah.
We're and I know you told me too that some of your like you and your friends joined the Navy together, but were any of you like on the same ship or did you get a chance to see them? Were they like stationed by you?
Um, None of them were on the ship with me.
Mm,
We all seemed like we went all different places, you know.
yeah.
And one time, my other friend that didn't join with us came in later, and he was stationed in the Norfolk, and I met him. So that was really nice that day. You know what
Oh,
I mean?
that's cool. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
You keep in contact with them?
yes, yes. I let's see, Ralph Ross. He's alive,
Mm,
and he lives out by the dam out here,
okay.
and I see him once in a while, you know.
Aw,
But the
that's
other ones are all passed away.
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Oh well.
So, would you recommend the military to young people today? Like, if Jacob wanted to join, would you recommend it to him?
I would. Yes, because I think it's really different now than it was when I went in. You know what I mean?
Mm,
Um, when I first went in, I I was down in Norfolk, and I wanted to go into town,
mhm,
and I got on a bus, and I walked into the back of the bus to sit down,
mhm,
and the bus driver stopped the bus, and he told me to get up front because that was for all the black people, and
mhm.
I didn't realize that,
Yeah.
and that shook me up back then. You know what I mean? They weren't allowed in places where you were allowed. You know,
Yeah.
and I didn't care for that. Yeah,
What is one lesson you learned from your service that you'll never forget?
I never did find out how to swim. I'll never forget that.
Well,
Yeah.
did you learn something at all from your time in the service? Well, not to swim, but something else.
Yeah. Oh, well, I learned how to take care of yourself more, you know,
Hmm.
on your own, like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Um, take care of your money, all that stuff.
Did
And when I come home from the service, I
mhm,
still live with my mother and dad.
mm,
So that was really helpful. Yeah.
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 Yeah,
Yeah.
what was that like coming back after being in the service? Was there like an adjustment period for you, like back to life again?
No, it was great
Oh,
to come back home and do what you want, you know, nobody tell you, well,
yeah.
you got to do this, you got to do that, get back in here, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, you were, yep. That when I went to come back, I come back to where I worked in the Westinghouse.
Mm,
That was good. Yeah.
um, and
And it took me a long time. It took me a long time to save some money to get a vehicle too.
oh,
Yeah.
yeah. Um,
Yeah.
um, I just
I
lost my
helped my mother and dad when I was home, like, you know.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know you said something about like getting like paychecks and stuff throughout your time in the Navy. So were you able to like send stuff home and help them out?
Yes, I did. I send money home every month when we got paid. Like, I had them take the money out and they send it home.
Yeah.
I didn't see that part of it. Yeah. Yeah.
Were the Westinghouse workers still on strike like that whole time you were in the Navy?
Just about. Yes. Yeah.
That's
And
a long
that
time.
helped my mother and dad. That helped my mother and dad out quite a bit.
When I was also looking through some of your papers, it said that you got your GED through the Navy. So did you not finish
Yes.
high school? And
Right. I didn't finish high school. I went in.
so,
Yeah.
but you didn't
I quit.
officially start till you were 20. So
I quit school and I got a job at the Westinghouse. Okay.
mhm.
And then after that, and that's when I went into service.
Do
In
you
52.
yeah.
Yeah.
So when were you able, I guess, then to get your GED, and then why'd you get it?
When I was in the service, I could have took my GE anytime I wanted to, you know what I mean?
Oh,
And
okay.
I think the first year or so, my mother she always wanted me to have graduated, from high school.
Yeah.
So I told her I was going to take this GED test. And when I took it and I passed it, boy, she was tickled to death. You know what I mean?
Aw,
Yeah.
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 So what is your experience with like veterans benefits and things like that? Like when you got back from the service, did they help you kind of like adjust back to life, or do they continue to support you in your life?
I didn't bother them, you know what I mean? Because I was getting along okay. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And seemed like one time I went up to Mercer and my wife, we weren't married then. She went with me.
Hmm.
And on the way back, we seen an accident.
Oh,
And yeah. And we waited till they came to get up to pick up this guy. He got his car ran over him.
oh my.
Another car hit his car, and he flew out of the car, and the car backed up and ran over him, and the car went into a great big ditch, a swamp. And here we heard a girl crying, and I ran into a swamp and got this girl and put her in our car. And when the ambulance came, they took her away, to the hospital and everything, and she was all right.
Yeah.
But that's
So
the only thing
yeah.
ever happened now.
So was that kind of like, did you draw any experiences or lessons you learned from the Navy to kind of like help that situation, or?
I just, it's something you just do automatically. It seems
Yeah.
like, yeah. But
No.
I ran into the swamp to get her, and I didn't know how deep it was, you know what I mean? And
Yeah, and
and
you
it was
still
up to
couldn't swim.
it was up to my stomach, and then I got her out.
So did you see like any changes throughout the military during your time in service? And do you know like how it's kind of changed since you last served? I know you kind of touched on it, like being more inclusive and stuff now, but I don't know if you saw any other changes throughout your time.
It just made you a lot different than what you were. It helped build you stronger
Mm,
of every thinking about everything. You know what I mean?
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, and I forgot to ask too. Did you come from like a military family? Did anybody, relatives or friends were in the military?
None of my cousins or anything were in the service. I think I was the first one.
Oh, so
After that, then they started going in. You know what I mean?
yeah.
Yeah.
Did you have any
Yeah.
close relatives that joined as well? Did anybody else serve during the Korean War that you did?
Nope, nobody that I know of. None of my relatives. Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
Oh well.
so what do you think like we civilians can learn from veterans like you or active people serving right now?
Well, I really don't know. You know, I mean, that's a tough question to answer.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's nice that they would go into the service, you know, and everything.
Mhm.
But other than that, I wouldn't tell them to join it, though. All right. Is that it, sweetie?
Yeah, unless you have anything else, any other stories you want to tell me, anything that you can remember.
No, not that I can remember.
Okay. Well, I greatly
All right.
appreciate it and thank you for